stumble in the dark. You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life feels almost, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds, and when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
The Esports Broadcasting Network presents Championship Truck Racing from the Western States Racing League, live from the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Tony Trapasso up in the booth with my good partner, Ben Bruno, and Frank Marchese over in the production truck. Gentlemen, welcome to Charlotte. And we had a barn burner last week at Texas. Holy cow, what a finish.
Yeah, absolutely. I took the time. I'm sad that I missed it as some came up last minute last week for me. One of my favorite places to watch, and it did not disappoint as I took a look back at it earlier on today. What a race between Bentley Glazer and Kyle McCartney down towards the end. The battle of fresh tires versus old tires, and McCartney able to hold on by just a little bit more than half a second.
Absolutely. You got to think of it. It was heartbreak last week for Bentley Glazer for the second week in a row. Started from pole, led the most laps of the event, and just could not close for the defending series champion. And because of that, because Kyle McCartney has gone 2 for 2 to start season number 45 of the Western States Racing League, McCartney and Glazer tied at the top of the pile in the point standings. I mean, this is just, you can't ask for much more from a league with all the action we have seen in the first two races. And now we bring it to the home of stock car racing, Charlotte.
Absolutely. Bentley and Kyle both locked in with 88 points, tied for first, as you mentioned. And then third, Rob Gall jumping up over Jeff Hollingsworth last week from Texas with 80 points. Jeff Hollingsworth fourth with 76 points, and Ryan Steele currently rounding out the top five in points with 67 points.
And that goes back to what we were talking about with the whole fresh tires, old tires thing. And I think we're going to see that here tonight. Wow, big one going down the back straightaway. That was fun to watch. But we're going to see that again here tonight as these guys are going to go 133 laps. And Ben, they've only got 4 sets of tires to get them through the night.
Yeah, per the usual, if anybody watching was here last season, my broken record go-to would be managing the damage on the truck with only just one fast repair and those 4 sets of tires per the usual, especially at a place like this. I got the opportunity to make a couple laps earlier on here with these trucks with the same setup that these guys are going to be running or close to it. And let me tell you, keeping the front tires on these trucks is going to be something that they're going to have to manage all night long, Tony.
And if our viewers are paying attention, you notice that there's a shadow that's flickering as the trucks go around this track. And if you look, the Armco lighting is on. We are under the lights here at Charlotte. And current track temperature, 82 degree, ambient air temperature, 77 degrees. Expect that track temperature to continue to drop as the night wears on, which means the grip level of the track's going to come up, and these guys are going to be fighting a tight truck. So we saw it in the practice session. These guys were just doing whatever they could to try to get this truck as loose as they possibly could so they don't punish that right front tire. And we've seen it all season long so far. If you can keep the right front under the truck the longest, you're going to do well, because with the new tire model and the new damage model these trucks are running this season, it's a completely different ballgame than what these guys have run every season in the past.
Absolutely. And, right now it seems like the going rate is just under 30 and a half seconds, the quickest being the 87 of Bentley Glazer with a 30.3 in practice as we get ready to go do some qualifying. Bob Beltrami second fastest in practice, and Nathan Medina third in practice with a 33.17. So a lot of tight groupings heading into qualifying, Tony.
It's good to see Medina making his debut here in the league. As keep your eye on the 10 of Medina, the 42 of Gargaro Jr., and the 67 of Courtney. Those are 3 guys that anybody that's watched the Sunday Night Major Series American Sportsman Division broadcast here on ESPN should recognize those names. Those are 3 guys that run for Vengeance Motorsports over there. they're trying it out over here tonight. All three of those guys making their debut. So welcome, guys. I'm sorry, I take that back. Courtney's been here. He's brought his teammates with him. As we've got trucks out on track right now, it looks like Bentley Glazer holding back, but Bob Beltrami in the Beltrami Salami number 14 getting ready to fire it off as he's coming through 3 and 4 right now, getting ready to take the green.
And Dennis Fuson in the 11 truck also out on track right now. The 16 of Cody Hunter also on the track. As you mentioned, series host Bob Beltrami looking to get the monkey off the back. A lot of strong runs for Beltrami early on this season. See if he's got enough to get the job done here at Charlotte tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And Bob should be very proud of the league that he has built here in the iRacing server. This league, as we said, they're in their 45th season, and that spans all the way back into the 90s across some of the early sim platforms that were available at the time. And Bob and the crew have decided to bring it over here as Beltrami goes provisional P1. Ryan Steele currently sitting second quick. Dennis Fuson as Ryan Steele jumps up to the point on his second lap.
And these guys just starting to get it wound up on that first lap. See if we can get some quicker times in here moving forward. Carl Burke in the 53 with a 30.4. Now one up on Bob Beltrami's second lap with a 30.361. So starting to get close to those times that we were seeing in practice.
Beltrami's got that Tundra wound up tight tonight. That rubber band's about ready to break. That's how hungry Bob Beltrami is for a win here in season number 45. As Carl Burke currently sitting second quick. Earl Weaver jumping up to the number 3 slot. Ryan Steele gets bumped down to 5th. Wayne Hutchinson sitting 7th. As David Wood, nice lap, going second quick with a 30.405.
And we're seeing some more laps trickle in. Rob Gall, one of those in the 31, bounces his way up inside of the top 5 with a 30.416 for the 4th spot, knocking Carl Burke back. And another one, Kevin Thrift, quick time, 30.320 in a steamer from Kevin Thrift.
Absolutely, as that is better than anybody did in the hot lap session. Nice lap, sir.
Absolutely, and we see a lot of laps yet to be taken. Dustin Burns in the 04 out there on the track right now.
Jeff Slosh in the 023 out on track in the Superflow, getting ready to take the green. Sorry, that's his second lap. He tagged the wall on his first lap, so only one's going to count. That's going to put him 16th quick. Looks like, or no, I'm sorry, he's on his second now. I do stand corrected. As we've got guys sitting at the end of pit road, looks like they're playing the game, trying to wait to see how low that track temperature is going to go, as they're going to try to blister one here. Is Ron Hollyfield bringing the nuclear banana out of pit road? Jeff Hollingsworth in the United States Coast Guard number 97 coming out on track. And Schloss going to improve just ever so slightly, goes from 17th to 15th, as Thrift still sitting atop the pile. Butch Davis out on track right now in a beautifully prepared Petty Motorsports Chevy Silverado.
Yeah, I'm loving that truck. You know, it really pops out there on the track with kind of that reddish orange and blue, you know, at the front there with a little splash of white. See if Butch Davis can get the job done as some more times coming in. Dustin Burns, Timothy Bates in the 23, and a lot of big names left here to qualify yet. Jeff Hollingsworth, who is out on the track right now. Jeff Schmeier yet to take a time. Kyle McCartney yet to take a time. Bentley Glazer yet to take a time. So we're going to see what Hollingsworth can come up with his first lap. A 31.078.
Davis tags the wall off of 4. That's going to give him one lap as Hollyfield goes 17th quick. Hollingsworth was only good enough for 22nd quick on his first lap. Let's see what he's going to do on his second lap. Coming out of turn 4 now to the stripe to take the checker on his qualifying attempt. And Hollingsworth, second quick. Nice run, sir. As Ron Hollyfield improves to 8th in the Nuclear Banana. Charles Woods currently sitting 20th quick on his second lap right now. And he comes out of turn 4 to take the checkers. Let's see what the United States Postal Service number 40 does. Goes up to 12th, so decent lap there as defending series champion Bentley Glazer finally out on track in the 87 as he's trying to get that truck wound up right now. So another one, Butch Davis on his one and only flyer right now. Don't look for much out of this lap for Davis. And across the checkers, yeah, 24th quick for Davis. As Kyle Glazer and McCartney both out on track right now. As McCartney just coming out of pit road, Glazer on a flyer right now. Coming to end lap 1. First lap for Glazer. Only good for 25th quick. McCartney takes the green. Schmeier waiting at the end of pit road, waiting to see if that track temperature is going to drop. Currently, it's already dropped 8 degrees down into the 81 territory. As Glazer coming around to take the checkers off of turn 4, he comes. And lap 2.
Quick time
For your defending series champion. Is he going to go 3 for 3 on pole positions? Kyle McCartney coming out of pit road again, was not happy on his initial outlap. And Schmeier finally rolling the double deuce.
And what a show this far in the season between McCartney and Glazer, as lots of good races between the two of them so far. I expect that we're going to see more of that here tonight, as you alluded to, Schmeier coming out on track, but Bentley Glazer through these first 2 races, changing up his paint scheme now to an Under Armour cold gear truck, see if he can get a little bit of something going here to edge off that 18 truck as we see him coming to take his first lap time, a 30.458. Gonna set him back a little bit further in the field than he'd like to be on his first lap, but just getting her wound up.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we saw Glazer, his first lap, put him 24th quick as McCartney brings it down the back straightaway under speed. That Toyota, iRacing Toyota number 18, just on kill right now. Just flirting with disaster, coming off of 4, catches the bump, gets it collected back up, and third quick for McCartney.
And as you alluded to, the track temps drop in here, a little bit of a quicker time for McCartney than what he had in practice, as well as Bentley Glazer, as Schmeier still looking to turn in this first lap as he makes his way down the backstretch.
This is the only lap he's going to be able to put in, as the timer is down under 30 seconds here. Off of turn 4, Schmeier comes to start lap 2. First lap, going to put him, looks like mid-pack. 11th quick.
Yeah, not bad for a wind-up lap. It could have been worse for him there, as
and
like
there
he's
goes
going to
the
run out
timer.
of time. Yep. So lots of cars here this week again for the Western States Racing League, Tony.
38 entries tonight. And the only ones we're missing, Jerry Sterner has already decided to put it on the hauler, as has David Gargaro Jr. And Nathan Medina as well.
I was gonna say, Medina was quick in practice there, so I was kind of surprised to not see him take a lap. But it looked like, as you alluded to there, that possibly the whole team.
So let's take a look at the starting grid. Your first 10 starters, Bentley Glazer, going to be joined on the front row with Kevin Thrift. Kyle McCartney, co-points leader with Bentley Glazer, going to start right behind his rival. He's going to be joined with Glazer's teammate, Jeff Hollingsworth, in row number 2. Row 3 sees league admin Bob Beltrami. He's going to be joined with Ross Rawlings. Row 4 brings us Paul Hoffman and David Woods. And row 5, Rob Gall and the nuclear banana of Ron Hollyfield.
Row 6 gonna bring Jeff Schmeier and Carl Burke. Row 7 gonna see Earl Weaver and David Weaver. Row number 8 gonna be comprised of Charles Wood and Rob Courtney. 17th position is gonna be Cody Hunter. 18th, Ryan Steele. 19th, the number 8 of Paul Kroom Rye. And 20th, the 17 of Wayne Hutchison.
That brings us to row 11, Dennis Fuson and Jeffrey Schloss. Brian Border and Earl McCulligan are going to make up row 12, with row 13 going to Dustin Burns and Timmy Bates. Row 14 gives us Butch Davis in his debut in the league and Scott Kukas. And my timing and scoring just took a poo. Row 15 gives us Brian Barnes and Ryan Patty.
To take a look back here, 31st going to be Mark Redeker, and 32nd going to be the 07 of Keith Kellman. 33rd, Barry Phil in the 99 truck. Looks like Jerry Sterner did not elect to start the race, and Angelo Espo, 34th. Fred Williams not going to start this race either.
Williams is here. He's just electing to pit start, it looks like.
Yeah, sorry about that.
I'm sorry, say again? And the 023 of Schloss electing to pit start. Now, we saw him have connection issues last week. Hopefully, he's got those cleared up for this week, as we also hope that our production team has the camera issues cleared up. So, field working its way through the 3-4 complex. Glazer has the button. He's joined with the 33 of Kevin Thrift on the front row. The only thing that's left really to do right now, if you're a driver, is you're going to make sure that the visor's nice and clean. You're going to give those 5-point safety harnesses one more tug. You're waiting for the pace truck to make that hard left turn onto pit road. There it goes. Race fans, it's showtime!
And a good jump for the 87 of Glazer. Kyle McCartney wasting no time in that 18 truck to the inside of the 33. Hollingsworth gonna hang the 33 out to dry here, as these guys wasted no time to make their way up.
You kind of thought Kevin Thrift, as soon as he got bumped off the pole, he was going to be a sit and duck on the initial start of this thing. And right there, it's proven it. He's got to stop the hemorrhaging. He's got to jump in behind Hollingsworth. Hollingsworth actually jumps up in front of him to try to make the hemorrhaging stop. As here comes the 91 of Rawlings to get around Beltrami. That is your battle for sixth behind these guys, as they're starting to get single file real quick.
In the 53 of Carl Burke taking the highway around the track here. Maybe a little bit of a tire decision, as we see the 22 of Jeff Schmeier file in behind him, and then a nice little gap back to David Weaver in the number 16 truck.
Yeah, Weaver's got his rearview mirrors filled with Earl Weaver, as those two kind of slugging it out right now. And we did see David Weaver have a decent run last week, as here comes the 40 of Charles Woods, currently sitting in the number 15 spot. As right now, Hollingsworth and McCartney throwing haymakers at each other, going into turn number 3 for second place.
That's the battle to watch. The 18 of McCartney with the momentum in the middle, the 97 of Hollingsworth with the advantage of the short way around the track. The 18 of McCartney able to hold on for the time being as they cross the stripe.
And this is one of those things that we saw last week at Texas. You can get some runs going in that inside line, but you've got to get the pass made before middle corner, or else that outside lane is going to get the momentum back. As here comes Thrift to the inside of McCartney, thinks better of it going into 3.
Unable to quite make it up there to the door of the 18. And, as we talked about a little bit pre-race, some guys being a little bit more aggressive early on in this game of tire preservation. So going to get interesting in our long run as we see the 85 of Kukas coming out around the apron.
Yeah, so Kuka's going to be scored in the 29th spot, 2 laps down currently, as the field sitting in single file right now. Most of them kind of riding right now, just to make sure to see what they've got. And Rawlings, big moment coming off of 4. Tag the wall. He's going to lose at least 2 off of this one. As Hollingsworth and Beltrami both able to get by him. Now he's got to deal with the 27 of the Woods brothers, David Wood.
And if you take a look a little bit further back there around that 17th, 18th spot, things starting to get interesting. Ryan Steele, the 8 of Paul Kroom Rye, and the 16 of, scoring was wrong there for me. Cody Hunter making the momentum work on the top side to get around Ryan Steele.
Yeah, Steele not having the run he was hoping for here tonight, as these guys they're making some stuff happen in the mid-pack right now, as Schmeier finally got by Burke to start knocking on the top 10. And Schmeier's been strong in the past. We've seen him strong in the first 2 races. He just hasn't been able to keep that truck out of enough trouble to really be able to close this thing out, as Hunter and Steele still throwing haymakers at each other, as Weaver and Courtney going toe-to-toe.
You took the words right out of my mouth there, Tony. These guys in this mid-pack, as you said, just battling it out up front. Seems like a little bit of a tire preservation game as we take a look back to Brian Border in the 527 and the 43 of Butch Davis. Things starting to get interesting there. The 30 of Ryan Patty able to take advantage of those 2 battling.
Now, we saw Patty have problems last week, had connection issues, went immediately 5 laps down to start the event. Unfortunately, didn't have enough cautions to get him back on the lead lap. So Patty looking to have a rebound drive here tonight to make up for the dismal showing at Texas, as he pulls alongside the outside of Butch Davis coming off of 4.
Take a look back to the front so far. All the 87 of Bentley Glazer, followed by his teammate and Jeff Hollingsworth. And then back to the 18 of Kyle McCartney, who's currently tied for that number 1 spot in points so far. A good run for Kevin Thrift in that 33, as we're probably seeing a little bit of a patience game up front, and Bob Beltrami rounding out the top 5.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing that we did see last week is Glazer had the short run speed. McCartney, as soon as you wore the goodie off the tires, it was all McCartney. And he started deep in that pack at Texas because he kind of borked his qualifying attempt, so he had to start real deep. As a matter of fact, I believe he started 27th to win that one. So, McCartney definitely knows how to conserve the tires, and that's what's going to be the key here tonight, is conserving the tires, but not being overly conservative to the point where you're off pace, as we've got some action going on right around like 7th spot, and McCartney trying to make a bid for second on Hollingsworth.
Absolutely. That's what I was watching. The 91 of Rawlings, now Rob Gall in that 31, able to get clear on the bottom side of the 27 of David Wood to take away that 9th position. And at one point, Ross Rawlings had pulled all the way to the door of Ron Holyfield, has now been able to gather back up, even with maybe a little bit of right side damage to that truck, as Frank called out a little bit earlier that he had gotten into the wall, not affecting him too bad at this point. 13 laps down as they come to the stripe, 133 in total, and things just starting to get interesting.
Yeah, it was just a little bit of a touch there going into or coming off of 4 for the 91 of Rawlings. And you can see a little bit of a crinkle in the right side bedside of that truck as Thrift working on Hollingsworth now for P3, coming off of turn 4, side by side, drag race to the stripe, give the advantage to Hollingsworth, and Hollyfield goes around.
Didn't quite catch it. But it looks like some damaged trucks in the field too.
Oh yeah, no, there was big contact between Holyfield and Rawlings as David Woods catching a race car to the face.
And a lot of damage to the 91, as you said.
Well, that started with Holyfield catching the safer barrier coming off of 4. There's a bump. If you're in that second lane, you've got to be real mindful of it. The transition off the banking onto that short chute that leads to the quad part of the oval. If you catch that bump wrong, it's just going to send you into the outside wall. And Holyfield found out the hard way just how quickly that can happen.
Absolutely. And, it'll never do it justice if you're watching at home. These things can be a handful, especially in the longer run. I know that we only ended up, 14 green there, if I'm not mistaken. But they, once you really start to push on those front tires, these things really become a handful to drive. And if you get yourself in there a little bit too deep, catch that bump, it'll catch you. And it certainly did there. You can see a little bit of damage to the front of the 43 truck of Butch Davis. Not sure if that was from that incident or if it was.
Everybody was taking evasive action, so it wouldn't surprise me. And this just in, the 91 of Rawlings has just hand grenaded an engine.
Well then. Yeah, that's a good run. He's making his way down pit road now, along with a handful of other cars, the 27 of Wood and the 3 of Hoffman. See if I can get a look at anybody else coming down here.
Looks like wholesale pit stops for most of your leaders. Looks like
Beltrami coming off.
And I take that back. Not a lot of guys going down pit road. Just most of the guys that were involved in that one. As Glazer stays out, McCartney stays out, Hollingsworth, Thrift, Gall, Schmeier, Burke stays out. Beltrami, the first one in that top 5 group before the caution to go down pit road. Looks like he's going to come out 10th.
Just touch on something a little bit, throw this out there. I'm not exactly sure what happened as Hollingsworth was trailing behind Bentley Glazer. McCartney able to make his way around, and then the 33 of Thrift starting to work on the 97 of Hollingsworth. Maybe just backing off his pace a little bit. I'm not sure if anybody else saw something there or not, but
no, that's Hollingsworth's game usually. He'll go kind of not hard at the beginning, but he'll go with some good pace to try to stay with everybody to see what happens, and then right around this point, he'll back the pace off just a tick to try to keep the tires under the truck as long as he can.
And that's why he's one of the best in the business, without a doubt. As you see him week in, week out, get it done in that fashion. Trying to take a look at some big movers here so far. Not a whole lot of movement this far.
Biggest mover so far is going to be both Paul Crumry and Dennis Fuson. Crumry started 19th, currently sitting in the number 11 spot. And Ryan Patty started 27th, currently sitting in the number 16 slot. Sorry, no, that's Butch Davis. I'm sorry. Started 27th, currently sitting 16th. And Patty currently sitting 14th? Yes, he is. Oh, wow. Yeah, started 30th, currently sitting 14th. So that is your big mover right now, Ryan Patty in the 30s. So keep your eyes on the DeWalt Tools Chevy Silverado, as looks like lights are getting ready to go out on the pace car, Ben.
Absolutely, and gonna be a good run. See if we can get a long green run in here. As I love talking to these guys about their long green runs. It really affects, and that's what we're seeing so far. Is only 18 laps down as we make our way around lap 19 with the pace truck out. Going to be the last time by for them. See if Bentley Glazer can continue to hold off the 18 of Kyle McCartney, but Kevin Thrift in that 33 so far having a really good run.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, but I don't know if anybody else is noticing this or not, but you've got the teammates of Glazer and Hollingsworth starting nose to stern this restart as the field works its way down the back straightaway. So you got Glazer, McCartney, Hollingsworth, Thrift, Gall, Schmeier, Burke, Weaver, Charles Woods, and Bob Beltrami rounding out your top 10 as the field worked its way into turn 3. Ben, get us going.
The iRacing Chevy Silverado pace truck gonna take a look to the infield here as we make our way over towards pit road. The 87 of Glazer, the 18 of McCartney on the front row. 87 of Glazer is gonna have the right to hit the heavy pedal first. And as we've seen all year, he does a fantastic job at that, playing a little bit of poker, and he's on the pedal and headed towards the flag stand.
Brings his teammate with him as Hollingsworth pulls alongside McCartney as those guys have just been throwing haymakers at each other all night long. And don't look now, but here comes Rob Gall in the 31. Had a decent run going at Texas, just got caught up in someone else's dumpster fire as Bentley Glazer's rearview mirror is just filled with that National Guard Chevy Silverado of his teammate right now.
Absolutely, and you know, they wouldn't have it any other way. A strong start for these guys as McCartney back to third and Kevin Thrift to fourth for the time being. And what a good start, as you mentioned, to the 97 starting off right behind his teammate. Worked to a T for those guys as they're going 2 by 2 a little further back.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's right around the 40 of Charles Woods as Ryan Patty dispatches him to move into the top 10 after starting from the number 30 starting spot. Good grief, Ryan leaves him on the table for the rest of the kids.
And Bob Beltrami also having a good start, able to make his way around the 43 of Butch Davis and the 16 of David Weaver off the restart. Dennis Fuson, who you talked about, also having a good run this far, and 2 distinct lines on the track right now as guys trying to find speed in their trucks.
Yeah, absolutely. As Patty working to the inside of Crumrye. Monster Energy versus DeWalt right now as they come off of turn number 4, almost getting into each other. A little bit of a twitchy moment for Patty on the inside line, and that's the one thing you guys are going to have to be mindful of if they're going to run that ultra low line and try to go double file. Is you're going to burn the tires off quicker as Crumrye battles back coming off a 2, gets the run, throws it to the inside, full send it mode for Crumrye.
And don't look now, these guys are catching the 53 of Carl Burke, trying to make that a 3-way battle up there for that 7th spot that Carl Burke currently holds. The 22 of Jess Schmeier out in front of him. Everything else relatively smooth sailing as we see the 18 starting to try to take a look at the 97 of Jeff Hollingsworth and Ryan Patty.
Wow.
Or I'm sorry, the 33 of Thrift throwing his hat in the ring.
Take a look at the back bumper of Hollingsworth's truck and the front bumper on McCartney's. McCartney has just been blasting Hollingsworth with the chrome horn as Hollingsworth said, yeah, you know what? Go ahead.
And he's still got a good run up there on the top as they're door to door down the backstretch. Thrift gonna take to the bumper of the 18 of McCartney, and they are really wadded up back here. Rob Gall pinned to the bottom as well, and Bentley Glazer sailing away. The 18 of McCartney around Hollingsworth now, and these guys are just duking it out.
Absolutely, as Ryan Patty working around the outside of Schmeier and Gall right now. Patty has found something in that second lane that nobody else has yet, and he's making it happen as Hollingsworth has to chase down the track coming off of 2, just hemorrhaging spots right now in that United States Coast Guard number 97 as Patty gets into the top 5, actually sitting in the number 4 slot as he works now to the inside of Thrift. Patty has that DeWalt Tool Chevy Silverado set on kill right now.
Absolutely, and that damage to the 97 of Hollingsworth not helping him at all as Rob Gall and the 22 Schmeier now looking to make his way around in a gaggle of cars behind him, and Paul Krumrye, the 40 of Woods, the 14 of Beltrami, the 43 of Davis. What a race that we got back here between 8th and 14th or 15th. They're really bunched up back there, Tony.
Yeah, absolutely. And a thing to keep in mind, Glazer, Hollingsworth, Krumrye, and Woods are all on the same team. So those guys kind of communicating with each other. And I think they've got Butch Davis with them tonight as a debutant, as those guys race a lot with each other on Wednesday nights in Indy cars. So, you know, a lot of trust with those particular guys on that team, as right now Bentley Glazer out to a 2.5-second lead as Ryan Patty still working on Thrift as somebody has laid the chrome horn to the DeWalt 30.
Absolutely, and he's on a great run from 30th to 3rd. See how that damage affects him as the 22 Schmeier looking to follow the 33 to the bottom to make their way around the DeWalt truck, and things not cooling down at all behind them either.
Absolutely not, and you can see a lot of damage on the 22.
Oh, contact!
Schmeier. And around goes Patty, and wow, oh! Arca!
Big one.
Yeah, that was huge. Charles Woods in the United States Postal Service number 40 just catching a truck to the face. Hollingsworth catching a piece of it.
And the 91 of Rawlings smoking too now again, so maybe his second motor on the day.
Oh, that's going to be a heartbreaker if it is.
Which, you know, pretty much it looked like, you know, coming down into the front stretch, the 22 of Schmeier, a little bit of contact there with the 30 of Patty, just unable to hold on to it.
And it goes back to that bump that's on the exit of 4. That's, I mean, it just got those trucks just ever so loose because these guys are right on the ragged edge to begin with, as David Weaver catching a truck to the face as well. Expect wholesale pit stops.
Jeff Hollingsworth already on pit road.
I think Hollingsworth had to tow it.
I didn't catch it.
No, he did not, but Ryan Patty definitely did. Patty had to tow. Charles Woods had to tow, as we are under caution number 2. You know, these guys, they're aggressive. They're very aggressive here tonight because everybody wants to try to break up the streak that McCartney has, as looks like we've got wholesale pit stops happening as we're 32 laps into this event. And it looks like Border and Rediker staying out. Ryan Steele is staying out.
Yep.
And McCartney winning the race off pit road. So good stop for McCartney, as he was, Bentley Glazer was better in box, McCartney was better cone to cone. As Kevin Thrift looks like he had to get a little bit of damage repair on that one. And looks like 4 in fuel for everybody that just came down pit road. So go ahead.
And confirm, getting word Ross Rawlings with the second motor. That's going to end his night early.
Oh, you hate to see that.
Yeah, tough break for him. A really good run early on, as there was a little bit of an incident there on pit road, as well as the 33 of Thrift was trying to get into his box, getting into the back end of the 18 of McCartney. Not sure if he won the race off pit road, so he probably didn't stick around. You can see some damage there now on the rear of the 18 of McCartney, so we'll see how that affects him.
Well, he's got damage on the rear. He's got damage on the nose. And take a look at this as Brian Border stays out 15 laps under anger on the 527's tires. Ben, I got to think he's a sitting duck.
Yeah, so sometimes some of these guys like to take a little bit of an adverse strategy. Ryan Steele's one of those guys. We see it out of him every week. So, strategy going to start to come into play pretty early on as we're rolling around lap 33 right now. So that's going to leave us with exactly 100 laps left. And we'll see how this tire game comes into play for these guys moving forward.
So Border, Steele, McCartney, Glazer, Thrift, Burke, Beltrami, Crumry, Fuson, and David Weaver rounding out your top 10 as looks like we're getting ready to go, one to go this coming time across the stripe. And here's an interesting fact. Brian Border, one of the newest drivers in the league, one of the newest drivers in the iRacing servers, still being classified officially in the iRacing licensing scheme of things as a rookie, the only one in the field currently running that does not have at least a B-class license. As the lights do go out on the Chevy Silverado pace truck, the official pace truck of iRacing, and thank you so much, Nim and crew, for giving us that on the pavement finally. Much appreciated. I know when it first came out, everybody was, give it to us on pavement, and thank you so much for doing that. As Border going to have the button this time. He's joined up on the front row with Ryan Steele. Now, Steele was able to get a pit stop in just before that caution came out. He started to come down pit road just as all hell was breaking loose and was able to get into his box before the yellow flag flew. So free pit stop for Ryan Steele. So Brian Border going to have an uphill battle in that Ford F-150. And again, I got to think he's a sitting duck, because right now you've got twin point leaders sitting right behind you with Bentley Glazer and Kyle McCartney starting both side by side in row number 2. Kind of how they started the race, just flip-flopped and a row back as the field working its way through turns 3 and 4, coming off of 4. Pace truck is in. Border holds him down. Texas start and just stacks that inside line up as McCartney giving him the chrome horn, letting him know, hey, man, you can't be doing that stuff, as we are still 2 wide, 7 deep.
And that led the 87 into the bumper of the 12 of Ryan Steele, as well. As you can see them now starting to surge with the momentum on the top. A little bit of contact with the wall, it looked like, in the 87 of Glazer. The 18 of McCartney now going to try to tuck just underneath the 87. He's got a good run down there in the middle. Things getting really shuffled up as we see the 14 of Beltrami able to make his way around the 53 of Carl Burke, and the 527 still hanging around in this top 3 battle as they go 3 wide coming off of turn 2.
3 wide down the back straightaway. Glazer with the nose out front finally gets it sorted out as Steele ducks in behind him to cut off the 18 of McCartney. That inside line on the old tires not working, as hell was breaking loose coming off of 4. That was a big moment as Border got up into Steele, and McCartney taking evasive action and just stacked Beltrami up. Beltrami's going to lose a couple of spots here as Thrift able to get by him and up into the top 5.
Absolutely. And if you're Bentley Glazer, that's exactly what you want to see. You see the 527 of Brian Border kind of holding these guys up as the 33 of Thrift, able to clear the 18 of McCartney. Now Beltrami to his tailgate, the 8 of Kroom Rye around Ryan Steele, and the 527 has fallen off pace now, and he's in the wall.
Catches the safer barrier going into 1, and as he goes to that top lane to give these guys that have the fresher tires the inside lane. Wow, big moment off of 2. Almost stacks the field up as these guys are still just hammer and tongs right now. And it looks like Kyle McCartney, that damage really starting to affect the 18 as he just Border into the wall again off of 4. He is struggling on those old tires. He's going to have to stop the hemorrhaging soon as he has the oldest tires on track right now. Meanwhile, up at the front of this field, Krumrye working on Beltrami, trying to figure out what he's got to do as Burke pulls up behind McCartney.
And things getting interesting there at some points, and maybe not even able to fit a piece of paper between some of these cars. A little bit of space looking back to round out the top 10. Wayne Hutchison in that 17 truck, then the 43 of Butch Davis. Ryan Steele all the way back to 12th off of that restart. Brian Barnes in that 4 truck working the top side as they're getting a little bit bunched up back there. The 31 of Gall, the 22 of Schmeier on the top side as things getting hairy from about 15th to 20th, roughly, just taking a guess here, is they're 2x2.
And Border not able to hold a line. Those old tires just not working on that Ford F-150. As you said, the 4 of Barnes gets by him. Barnes immediately throws to the inside of Steele, coming off a 2. Drag race down the back straightaway and give the spot to Barnes as Krumrye still trying to figure out what he's got to do to get by Beltrami as Thrift currently sits in 2nd.
And little side note here, the 97 of Jeff Hollingsworth now a lap down. I assume that he stayed in the pits a little while to fix some damage there. And he's probably going to take it easy on that set of tires for the time being to try to keep himself in this one. Bob Beltrami currently holding on to that 3rd spot. Paul Kroom Rye right to his bumper, and then a good while back to the 18 of McCartney rounding out the top 5.
Yeah, absolutely. And McCartney doesn't normally have the short run speed that we see out of some of these other guys, but another 10 laps and we're under caution, so he's not even going to get it. I don't have it.
Yeah, I didn't see where that one popped up at. See if I can find it here.
If I had to venture a guess, I'm going to say Schloss. Yeah, I definitely don't have it. So hopefully...
yeah.
Okay, so it is the 023 of Schloss. Just pile drove the safer barrier, and a lot of damage on the right side of that truck right now as we are going to step away to pay some bills. We will be back after this word. Western States Racing Lead, proudly presented by the Outdoor Cast Iron Cooking Network, Irresponsible Graphics, and Rocket Racing Setups. As the lights go out on the Chevy Silverado Pace Truck, as we now have 46 laps in the books here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Bentley Glazer has the button as the field works its way down the back straightaway on the restart. 2 cautions into this piece as Glazer's Thrift, Beltrami, Crumry, your top 4. Good run for the driver of the Monster Energy number 8. Field working its way off of turn number 4. Pace truck getting ready to make that hard left turn onto pit road. There it goes, and here we go. Back under green as Glazer pulls the trigger.
The 33 of Thrift not able to get quite the jump as Glazer, as he has seemed to have perfected his restarts here. Looks all good behind him. The 14 of Beltrami trying to take a look at the 8 of Krumrye. The 14 of Beltrami, the 53 of Carl Burke, Kyle McCartney to the inside of Fuson in the backstretch.
McCartney working to the inside of Fuson as Fuson fell in the rearview mirrors of the 53 of Burke. Meanwhile, Glazer with a 4 truck length lead over the 33 of Thrift. Thrift 2 truck lengths to the good over Crumry. Crumry 2 truck lengths to the good over Beltrami. Then a decent gap back to the battle with Burke, Fuson, and McCartney.
And how's about the 23 of Timothy Bates, started 26th, running inside of the top 10 last lap, able to make his way around the 17 of Wayne Hutchison for that 9th spot, as now we see Butch Davis going to the inside of the 17 of Hutchison as well, coming into the front stretch.
Hutchinson having a little bit of problems in that Toyota Tundra, number 17, as Davis and Bates was able to get by him. Davis working on him now, and they've got to get that sorted out real quick because they got a real hungry Brian Barnes in the Otter Pop number 4, as there goes Cody Hunter in the... Okay, so this is the reason why we don't let the tech officials drink while they're handing out the transponders, as Hunter has the transponder for truck number 1, has a number 16 on the door, so don't mind my confusion, it happens. As Bates working on the outside of Hunter right now, drag race going into turn number 3, give it to Bates.
And as all that's going on back there, the 87 of Glazer had caught up to his teammate in Hollingsworth. See how that plays out over the next couple laps here, as it seems that Hollingsworth has pulled a little bit further away from the 87 now, trying to maintain that spot on the track. Kevin Thrift about 3 truck lengths behind Paul Krumrye as well, and Bob Beltrami starting to shake it up for that 4 spot.
Well, right now, Hollingsworth being the last truck scored on the lead lap. Freshest tires on the track also, as Glazer trying to work on Thrift, as Hunter and Davis now going toe-to-toe. Davis to the inside of Hunter, wrestles the spot away from him. Davis into the top 10.
And Timothy Bates trying to make his way around the 18 as he makes an aggressive move to the inside, heading into turn 3 on Kyle McCartney.
What? As Bates and McCartney still toe-to-toe coming off of turn number 4, drag race to the stripe, give the nod to Bates. Nose out front going into 1, full send-it mode for the 23.
And right behind him now, Butch Davis in that 43 trying to make work of the 18 and the 23, as we've been talking about this battle for the last couple laps. Cody Hunter in the 16 and the 17 of Wayne Hutchison. Brian Barnes, who we haven't talked a whole lot about all that much this evening, now starting to creep his way towards the top 10.
Absolutely, as Davis able to wrestle the number 8 spot away from McCartney. McCartney looks like he's trying to save his fast repair for later in the race. Just trying to ride right now and stay within striking distance should another caution come out. We're at Charlotte. I would be surprised if it didn't. Get your hate mail coming now, folks. North Paso, care of ESPN Towers, Syracuse, New York, P.O. Box LU812.
And go ahead.
I was going to say, Earl Weaver watching the battle in front of him between Gall and Steele, as those guys are just door to door right now, as Steele finally just sails it off to wrestle the spot away from Gall, as McCartney having to deal with the 17 of Hutchinson right now. Hutchinson looking to the inside of the number 4 of Barnes. Barnes on the high side, Hutchinson on the low side. That is your battle for 11th spot. Whoa, big contact. McCartney gets into the wall coming off of 4 and collects the 17.
Yeah, that was the 17 of Hutchison. Those guys skid off down into pit road. No caution flag out at this time because of that. So tough break there for Kyle McCartney catching the wall. Unfortunately for Hutchison getting wrapped up in it.
Yeah, absolutely. You hate to see it happen for anybody, but those two guys had strong trucks, and they are going to be praying for a caution right now. As right now, Beltrami and Crumry nose to stern as Beltrami looks to the inside going into 1. That's your battle for 3rd. Beltrami on the inside, Crumry on the high side.
And they continue to battle down the backstretch. The 14 of Beltrami still glued to the bottom of the racetrack. The 8 of Crumry using the momentum to his advantage. See if he can make that momentum work for him heading into the front stretch. The 14 of Beltrami's truck is strong on the bottom of the racetrack.
Beltrami looking very strong on the bottom side, as give the nod to Beltrami coming across the stripe there, as Crumry running that second lane, trying to conserve a little bit.
And we see Thrift not letting go of the 87 of Bentley Glazer, as Crumry able to make the momentum work for him to maintain that 3rd spot. Well, it got taken away for a second, and now the 53 of Carl Burke wants a little bit of that action as well.
And that's also brought Dennis Fuson in the 11 up to those guys as well. Now, we've seen it time and time again since the new tire model in the iRacing server has come out. That second lane is able to defend so much better than it ever has in the past, as Beltrami looks to the inside of Crumry again for 3rd. Side by side through the middle of 3 and 4. Beltrami with the advantage coming off of 4, pinches Crumry up into the wall, almost contact, as Crumry now has to deal with the 53 of Carl Burke. Burke still looking to the inside of Crumry, as Crumry now has to deal with the 11 of Fuson. I got to think that Crumry may have gone too hard too soon on the tires when they were fresher, as it looks like Burke and Fuson have a little bit more tire left under their truck, as Fuson and Crumry still door to door going through turn 1. That is your battle for 5th, and give it to Fuson as he wrestles the spot away.
Absolutely. You can see these guys having a little bit better drive off of the corner, center off a lot better, as the 14 of Beltrami starting to pull away from the 53 of Carl Burke now, taking a look a little bit further back. Things starting to get a little bit spaced out, as the 12 of Ryan Steele now up to that 8th position, and Brian Barnes going to work on the 23 of Timothy Bates.
And the battle between Woods and Schmeier for the 11th spot, hot and heavy right now. It's David Woods on the high side in the 27, Schmeier on the inside in the double deuce. They got to get that figured out pretty quick, as here comes Rob Gall in the Fujifilms number 31.
And Brian Barnes just now able to clear the 23 on the bottom side, taking a look back at that battle that you just talked about there. Sorry, I lost it there for a quick second. Rob Gall and the 46 of Earl Weaver really starting to shake things up, as the 22 able to pull just ahead of the 27 heading down into turn 3.
Forward on Ford crime going into turn number 3. Again, that's Schmeier on the inside with a heavily damaged left rear taillight area on the Ford F-150 he's driving. Here comes the 31 of Gall to the inside of Wood. Wood may have burned those tires up battling with Schmeier. And don't look now, but Timmy Bates starting to fall back into the clutches of those guys. We've got one coming out of the pits.
That's McCulligan coming off pit road there. As the 46 and the 27, a little bit of contact there. That's going to be David Wood. And we're seeing Ryan Patty starting to make his way back up, but 2 laps down. So he's going to have to fight that for the rest of the time being here as we're starting to creep up on the halfway point.
Absolutely. As Paul Crumrye continues his backward slide right now, as both Ryan Steele and Butch Davis have gotten by him, drops the number 8 into the number 8 slot. Now has to deal with the number 4 of Barnes, as Barnes reeling him in hand over fist and looks to the inside coming across the stripe.
Barnes going to be able to grab that spot away from Crumrye at the line. He's got great drive in that truck off the bottom. And a great run so far for the 43 of Butch Davis as well. See if the 4 of Brian Barnes can start to reel these guys back in. Is quite a bit of distance between each of these guys all the way up to Beltrami.
Rob Gall power move, as it looked like Tim Bates had some problems coming off a 2, stacked them up behind him, as here comes the 30 of Ryan Patty to the inside of Gall. Now Patty is a lap down, a couple laps down actually, and we're back under caution. Holyfield.
Looks like that was the number 2 of Ron Holyfield. He's got a good amount of damage on that truck.
And unfortunately, my iRacing is not going to let me see what happened, but he's completely cheese gratered the left side of the Nuclear Banana number 2. So not exactly sure what happened there. Hopefully Frank in the production truck doesn't have it either. Okay, so unfortunately, folks, we're not sure exactly what happened with Holyfield, but that's going to bring out caution number 3 here tonight at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, as we are working lap 69. Nice.
And didn't see a whole lot of other trucks with damage. The only one that I can see, and I don't know if he already had it or if he got a little bit tangled up there, was Paul Hoffman. He's got a little bit of damage to the right front and some tire marks to the left side, nearly having rubbed the 3 right off of his left side door. But not a whole lot of damage in a lot of these other trucks as we see wholesale pit stops happening.
Absolutely, as Glazer brings him down, Thrift right on his tailgate. Beltrami dives into the pits. Carl Burke already into his slot as Ryan Patty stays out, and so does Charles Woods. Those guys looking to get away. Actually, they're lapped down, so the pit's not open for those guys. That is Thrift winning the battle off pit road that time. 12-2 in the box, so a little bit of gamesmanship for the Pennzoil 33. He may have taken 2 in fuel.
Well, we're going to find out pretty quick.
Now, we saw that it didn't work last week at Texas.
It's a gamble, you know, quick on the road, or, you know, what I have heard out of these guys is when you do that it can almost make the truck even looser than what it was before, but sometimes you got to take that gamble to try to make it pay off here.
Well, here's the thing is, if he was fighting a tight condition, yeah, 2 tires are going to help in the short term. But after about 3, maybe 4 laps, you're screwed. Because once the guys that took 4 get those tires up to temperature, you're a sitting duck. So The one guy that did definitely help, looks like I've got Border. Sorry, Jeff Schloss getting the lucky dog under that caution to get him back on the lead lap in the Superflow 023. So couple movers, a couple shakers here under the pit stops. Thrift able to beat Glazer off the pit road. Beltrami picks up a spot, moving him into the number 3 slot. Ryan Steele picks up the slot. Carl Burke into the top 5. Butch Davis sitting 6th. Dennis Fuson, Brian Barnes, Jeff Schmeier, and Paul Crumry finally able to get some fresh tires on the number 8 to stop the backward slide that he was having after he burned the right sides completely off under that last green flag run. And it looks like we are getting ready to go 1 to go this time.
And with, all these three, I'm going to call them early cautions as we're just over halfway. Really shaking things up here for a lot of guys. Lots of big movers, as you had talked about. Ryan Steele, Carl Burke, Butch Davis from 27th, Dennis Fuson from 21st, Brian Barnes from 29th, all inside of the top 10, and Paul Krumrye as well, as you had mentioned. Really strong run here so far, able to maintain a top 10 spot after starting 19th.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so McCartney stayed on pit road for a little bit of an extended period of time to try to get some damage fixed. That drops him all the way down to 21st as the field doubling up, working their way down the back straightaway as here comes Ryan Patty tagging on to the tail end to get one of his laps back. As that caution came out in a timely fashion for Jeff Hollingsworth to allow him to stay on the lead lap because his teammate was starting to reel him in there towards the end. As the field works its way off of turn number 4, Thrift in the Nuclear Banana 33 has the button. As they come off of turn number 4, there goes the pace truck, and there goes the field as Thrift holds him down. Green flag comes out. Thrift finally pulls the trigger, stacks him up a little bit. Glazer was guessing, gets across the start-finish line where you're finally allowed to start changing lanes, cuts off Bob Beltrami, as here comes Burke to the inside of Steele.
Absolutely. That restart certainly shuffling things up as the 87 of Glazer, an aggressive move in the backstretch, trying to take a look to the inside of the 33. He's able to grab that position. Can the 14 of Bob Beltrami take advantage? Yes, he can, as the 33 forced to the top side. It's going to be 87 and 14 the first time back to the stripe.
And this is the one thing that everybody in the field is taking notes on. They know that the 33 of Thrift only took 2, and it's not working. As here comes Steele to the inside, looking to make it 3 wide, not going to have a hole as Davis and Thrift go side by side. Steele, now here comes the 11 as Thrift was holding up the 4 of Barnes on that outside lane. Barnes had absolutely nowhere to go. Kind of backs off it, trying to discretion being the better part of valor. And here comes Crumry back into the top 10.
Absolutely. And as you talked about, just what a gamble to take, just 2 tires and not paying off for him, as he has an anchor attached to the 33 truck. Unfortunately, is the 22 of Schmeier able to make his way around as well. Things starting to settle in a little bit, all the way back to the 23 and the 46. That's Timothy Bates, with things getting interesting back there. And then a big group behind Cody Hunter in the 3 of Paul Hoffman, the 97 of Hollingsworth, Brian Border in the 527 and the 17 of Wayne Hutchison, followed up with another big group of cars.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, the good news is if you're Kevin Thrift, it's still early. There's still plenty of racing left to go. We have not seen the money stop yet, so all hope is not lost. You just realize that you don't do that again tonight. Nobody else is probably going to try it again tonight either, because they just watched what happened. As right now, Davis and Steele going hammer and tongs for the number 4 slot. Davis on the high side, Steele trying to wrestle it away from him on the low side, as they both sit right behind Carl Burke. Burke currently holding down the number 3 slot, as there is a decent-sized gap between Beltrami in second, who's trying to stay pace with Bentley Glazer, as Burke has a pack of angry wolves behind him.
Absolutely, and a very angry pack of wolves. Davis, Steele, Burke, Fuson, and Krumrei have all been fast all night long as they go to battle here. The 12 of Steele trying to take a look now to the top side in the front stretch of the 43, as he is right on the bumper of the 53. The 43 of Davis making the momentum work for him perfectly, as he's got a massive run to the outside of the 53 of Burke down the back stretch.
Doing it the hard way on the 53. Davis with the nose out front as they haul it off into turn number 3, trying to keep the momentum up. Finally gets the clear in the middle of 3 and 4. Burke trying to battle back on Davis, as give the spot to Davis. Davis up into the number 3 slot. Burke not done yet, though, as he battles back on that inside.
Pushing that truck for all it's worth, but the 12 of Ryan Steele taking some notes from Davis on that momentum line, now able to get to the quarter of the 53 of Burke, in a gaggle of cars with him in Fuson, Krumrei, and Barnes now coming into the picture as he is salivating on this battle.
Absolutely, and this is something that we've seen all night long so far. The only thing you're doing on that inside lane is burning your right side tires off, and it's going to hurt you later in the run. And that's something that Burke has had to deal with all season long so far with this new tire model. It's not the easiest to get a handle on in this truck. As the battle still rages on, that's Davis, Steele, Burke, Fuson, Krumrei, and Barnes all just slugging it out right now, as there's a decent gap between Barnes in 8th and Schmeier in 9th, as Rob Gall and David Woods nose to stern as well for the last spot in the top 10. And here comes the 11 of Fuson to the inside of Burke.
Problems.
Okay. As Burke having problem. Uh-oh. 53 getting into it, coming off of caution is out there, as they were coming up on the lap truck of the 777. That is Earl McCulligan. They were coming up on him, and unfortunately, meeting of the minds between Burke and the 11 of Fuson just triggered that one, coming off of 4. Looked like Krumrei caught a piece of it. Ooh. Yeah, Krumrei caught a piece of that one, as did Barnes, as did the 22 of Schmeier. The 31 of Gall got door jammed. And yeah, that was ugly. It could have been a lot uglier, as the 23 of Timmy Bates going for a ride coming through the Legends Oval, catching a little bit of air as he came across the grass and then back onto the pavement there. So was ugly, could have been a lot uglier, to bring out caution number 4 tonight, as Glazer, Beltrami, Davis, your top 3. Ryan Steele sitting in 4th. Paul Krumrei, after just catching a piece of it, currently sits in the number 5 slot. Ryan Barnes, as we've got guys going down pit road. That looks like Barnes, Fuson, and Burke all looking to get some damage repaired.
You know, to be honest with you, I can't say that so far what we've got has been disappointing because it has kept us on our toes all night. Like I said, after that last caution, a ton of big movers so far because of it, giving a lot of these guys a chance to run up front there and really show the kind of speed that they can keep in their truck.
Yeah, absolutely. And we are going to step away for what hopefully will be our final payment of the bills. And we're going to keep the lights on in the production truck. We'll be back after this. Western States Racing League back at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Lights out on the pace truck, getting ready to go back under green as Glazer has the button one more time. Take a quick peek at what we've got coming up here this coming week. Tomorrow night, you can join Frank Marchese and myself for Sim Racers Edge, round number 2 of season 3 from Kansas. Then about 10 minutes after that, we've got a doubleheader tomorrow night with the Endurance for Amateurs next round at Sebring. That's at 8:25. That should be Sam and Byron, I believe, in the booth for that one. No, Byron won't be in the booth for that one. As the TNT Truck Series, that's going to be Frank and myself from Michigan on Thursday. And the Rowdy Energy Cup Series from Pocono. Big moment coming off of 4 there.
Yeah, the 14 of Beltrami in the wall coming down into the front stretch there. That's Carl Burke there in the 53 getting into the wall in turns 1 and 2. So a tough break there for Carl Burke after having a lot of speed in that truck all night. In between all of that, that's going to let the 43 of Butch Davis get to that second spot, followed by Ryan Steele and the 14 of Bob Beltrami.
What a debut race if Davis can hang on for a podium tonight. It couldn't ask for much more, especially against defending series champion Bentley Glazer, currently showing the way here. And bad news for the rest of the field. Don't look now, but look who's back on the lead lap. That is the 30 of Ryan Patty as he works to the inside of the deuce of Ron Hollyfield coming off of turn number 4. Hollyfield still with the cheese-gratered left side on that Pennzoil Chevy Silverado.
In the 22 of Schmeier, almost getting wholesaled right now as he was sitting in that fifth spot. The 8 of Krumrei able to get around Rob Gall in the 31, trying to make his way around, but the 22 with that outside momentum for the time being as Krumrei starts to distance himself from that battle as they're 2x2 in the form of Schmeier, Gall, Barnes, and Fuson to round out the top 10 right now. What a battle of cars as we see Paul Hoffman, the 27 of Wood, the 17 of Hutchison. They are all types of bunched up back there.
Yeah, absolutely. As the 31 finally wrestles the spot away from Schmeier. So Gall, Fuson, and Schmeier's got to stop the hemorrhaging right now. He's going to have to burn his fast repair when he comes in for the money stop, as we are quickly approaching 40 to go, as Bentley Glazer with a commanding lead over the 43 of Butch Davis. Davis still has Ryan Steele in tow. Bob Beltrami, a little bit of damage on that number 14, currently holds down the number 4 spot. And then it's behind Paul Krumrei from 6th on back that all hell is breaking loose. As here comes Fuson to the inside of Krumrei for 5th.
How's about Fuson? Out of a cannon there. Maybe a little bit of a push from Brian Barnes about a half a lap ago, able to get him around Rob Gall, and then just made slight work of the 8 of Krumrei, pushing that truck very hard early on as we see Brian Barnes now trying to rally back to the outside of Rob Gall. He's doing just that. Maybe a little bit of contact down the backstretch, if not a little bit of an air push, as Fuson is starting to distance himself and things starting to even out between the 43, the 12, and the 14 of Beltrami.
Well, here's the catch. Beltrami and Fuson have already burned all 4 sets of tires. They've got their 4th set on the truck right now. Glazer still has a set in the pocket. Butch Davis still has a set in the pocket. Ryan Steele, I believe, still has a set in the pocket. As does Krumrei still has one. Thrift still has one. And Gall still has one. As 777 coming back out of pit road there. And it looks like Kyle McCartney still has a set in his pocket, but he has burned his fast repair finally. Good grief.
Yeah, as things are heating up back here from about 6th to 12th, 13th, 14th, the 31 of Gall, the 8 of Krumrei, the 97 of Hollingsworth now on an absolute tear up through the field as he takes a look to the inside of the 31 of Gall. Wayne Hutchison just behind him there as Krumrei was very quick early on, starting to struggle with this long run speed now.
Yeah, Krumrei does a lot of IndyCar racing, and this truck handles so much differently than that car does. It's very easy to burn the right front off. as big race at Kansas tomorrow night for the Sim Racers Edge Alpha IndyCar Series. As don't look now, Ryan Patty into the top 15.
Oh, and Fuson now taking a look to the inside of the 12 of steel, coming off at turn 4. It's going to be a drag race to the flag stand. The 11 of Fuson able to clear the 12 and now has his eyes set on the 43 of Butch Davis. Does the 11 of Fuson have something for the 87 of Glazer as he takes a look to the inside of the 43 and the caution flag comes out?
Hollyfield and Courtney getting into it. Not something you wanted to see, as that is a heavily damaged Chevy Silverado for Hollyfield, and yeah, I don't have it. All I caught was the bounce into the inside, and oh, good grief! I caught the tail end of it. And Redeker catching a huge piece of that one. So 3 completely wadded trucks. Now here's the good news. You can't make it from here.
Well, it's gonna get interesting. We see the 14 of Beltrami peeking below the racetrack, as a couple of guys are now as well. The 87 of Glazer, the 43 half committed. He's going to go. The 11 of Fuson stays out. So it was a question that I was going to have there was, did he grab tires? I had a little bit of technical difficulty there.
Fuson
So, I mean,
Fuson has already burned all his tires. So he's made his bed and he's lying in it. But he's going to have to come. I'm not sure if you can make it from here on fuel, but Fuson's already burned his final set of tires, as it looks like it's going to be 4 in fuel for just about everybody in the top 10. Carl Burke stays out as well after he kind of pancaked the right side of the 53, and I believe he had to burn his fast repair earlier on in the race. So 17 laps on Fuson's tires, 16 laps on Burke's tires, as it looks like both of them may have both burned their final set, as Bentley Glazer finally wins a battle off pit road.
Glazer, Steele, Beltrami, Kevin Thrift, the 4 of Brian Barnes, the 97 of Hollingsworth, the 27 of David Wood, the 31 of Rob Gall, the 17 of Hutchison, and the 18 of Kyle McCartney currently scored 10th. So able to make his way back inside of the top 10 with this yellow flag stop here, Tony.
Now it's time for good news, bad news for the entire field. Good news. You should be able to make it here on fuel. And it looks like everybody just made their money stop. Bad news. Ryan Patty's knocking on the door to get back in the top 10. He's on the lead lap. Jeff Hollingsworth is back on the lead lap and in the top 10. If this stays green, Kyle McCartney is knocking on the door to get back into the top 10. Now, we've seen him have decent short run pace, but he hasn't had the short run pace. But we know in the closing laps of this race, McCartney is going to be strong. Can McCartney go 3 for 3 to start season 45? Can Bentley Glazer finally get his first win of the season after being the bridesmaid in the first 2 races? Can anybody else make something happen here tonight? As what happened to the 43? Butch Davis looks like he might have gotten some damage fixed. Currently sitting in 16th. But coming back to green, Fuson gonna have the button He's got Carl Burke with him up there on the front row as it looks like we're getting ready to go. One to go this time, coming to the stripe as we're going to restart with 30 to go.
And the big thing, at least for me, that I'd be looking at this very moment, if things stay similar to how they sit right now, Bentley Glazer gonna take a nice little cushion over McCartney. I wouldn't expect that it's gonna stay very similar, as it's always action packed with the Western States Racing League. But if it does, Bentley Glazer heading into round number 4 gonna have a nice little cushion now over Kyle McCartney.
More bad news for the rest of the field. Bob Beltrami has burned his fast repair. He now has a fresh Beltrami Salami Toyota Tundra number 14. So look for him to start to make some headway. And this is the highest that we've seen Brian Barnes all night, currently sitting in the number 7 slot on the restart behind Beltrami. So that inside line looking very strong right now. And the good news for Kevin Thrift, he was finally able to get that final set of tires put on, 4 in fuel for the 33. No more 2-tire stops. As the field working its way through 3 and 4. And Fuson going to have the button as the pace truck gets ready to make the hard left turn. There it goes. And Fuson rolls into it. We're back underway. And here comes the 87 of Glazer.
Good jump for Fuson. But the 87, as you say, wasting no time to make his way around the 53 of Burke. The 14 of Bob Beltrami now trying to make the bottom work, as he's going to do just that. The 33 of Thrift also able to make his way down to the bottom of the racetrack as Carl Burke is moving backwards.
As we got a battle for the lead, that's Glazer throwing it to the inside. Fresher tires for Glazer by 20 laps over Fuson. Fuson struggling on that outside line. He's about to hemorrhage spots as here comes Beltrami and Fuson. Thrift up into the number 3 slot in the 33.
Ryan Steele now going to take advantage of the bottom as well. And Jeff Hollingsworth and Brian Barnes not far behind, doing just the same, as we have a gaggle of cars behind them. Things relatively smooth up front, as a little bit less than a car length between most of these guys. Some of them out to about a truck length, as the 14 of Beltrami is eager to hunt down the 87 of Bentley Glazer.
Absolutely. Beltrami, though, he has to be careful because he's got a very hungry 33 of Kevin Thrift right behind him. Thrift was strong in the hot laps. He was strong in qualifying, started outside row number 1. And, these guys have just been in lockstep all night long. Thrift finally able to stop the hemorrhaging as he was finally able to get 4 tires put on. We saw him gamble on 2 for track position, and it didn't work for him under that last set of pit stops. But he's making it work right now as Carl Burke had burned his Carl Burke continues to backslide, currently in the number 12 slot, as Butch Davis working the inside of the 31 of Rob Gall back into the top 10 for the 43.
And the 97 of Jeff Hollingsworth able to get around the 4 of Brian Barnes to solidify a 5th spot. Currently, everything's still smooth sailing. Looking forward back to Brian Barnes, the 27 of David Wood, and the 7th, Dennis Fuson, and that 11 able to quit the bleeding at 8th for the time being. But Kyle McCartney is coming hot with the 43 of Butch Davis.
Absolutely, as McCartney throws it to the inside of Fuson. There goes Davis as well. Fuson having a backslide just like Burke is. Had the clean air for a little bit. Not quite as quickly falling to the back as Burke is, but definitely falling to the back as Davis giving McCartney all he can handle right now, trying to get into the number 8 slot, as a little bit of aero push coming off a 2 for Davis. Has to drop back just a little bit.
Hollingsworth is a man on a mission. He's reeled in the 12 of Ryan Steele. He very well might be the fastest car on the track this last time by, a 30.7, so a little bit slower than what we were seeing out of qualifying and practice. Surely as these tires start to get some laps on them, but Bentley Glazer a 30.8 last time by out of our leaders. So Jeff Hollingsworth very well may be the fastest truck on the race surface.
Yeah, absolutely. As Glazer last time by 30.8, Beltrami 30.8, Kevin Thrift 30.7, and Ryan Steele 30.8. As Hollingsworth still in lockstep, 30.8 for Hollingsworth that last time by, and we're back under caution.
David Weaver, Jeffrey Schloss. Didn't quite catch what happened right there at the end of it. Somebody hard into the wall, I saw.
Looks like McCulligan may have had a piece of it too. And looks like connection issues continue for the 023 of Jeff Sloss. We saw him have a lot of connection issues last week at Texas, and the troubles continue for the Superflow 023 this week. Hopefully he can get that sorted out next week as we go to Dover.
And the 53 of Carl Burke. Gonna take the 53 back to the truck, head off into next week, looking to put it all together next week. Unfortunately, an early retire after we saw him surge and run up in the front of the field. Not sure exactly what happened with the 53 of Burke, but sad to not see him finish this one out.
Yeah, it looks like Crumrye may have caught a piece of that incident too. A lot of damage on that Monster Energy number 8 right now, as he's already down into the 21st position. He was knocking on the top 10 there.
Rolling on to lap 113 here. Jeff Hollingsworth gonna restart this 1/5 if I'm not mistaken. So an absolute tear for him here off of this last restart, puts him inside of the top 5, and you know for sure we're gonna see him up front here in little to no time.
Hollingsworth very strong on older tires. And don't look now, but Kyle McCartney inside the top 10, currently holding down the number 8 slot, as Charles Woods getting one of his laps back in the United States Postal Service number 40. Beautiful truck there. Not the night he was hoping for, though. But Glazer's going to have to be careful. He's got a very hungry and very fast Kevin Thrift starting behind him. And then he's got his teammate behind Thrift. So Glazer electing to take that inside lane, it looks like, as the field, we're not one to go yet, but the field already starting to pick their lanes, pick their battles, as we are going to be 20 to go this time across the stripe. And, there's still a lot of racing left to do. Now, most of these guys can make it from here on fuel. There's a couple questionable ones. Fuson in the 11 being one of the ones that's questionable of whether or not he's going to have to come back down for a splash and dash. But everybody else should be okay on fuel, as lights still on the Chevy Silverado pace truck. And Glazer has just, he's had strong runs all season. Led the most laps from the pole in race 1. Lost out to Kyle McCartney. Race 2, pole for Glazer. Most laps led. Lost out to Kyle McCartney. So back-to-back second-place finishes for Glazer. Looking to get that monkey off his back. Bob Beltrami looking to get the monkey off his back. The winningest driver in league history, currently starting outside row number 1 in the 14. We are in season 45 for the Western States Racing League. And don't forget, if you like the action that you're seeing on track right now, we do this every night of the week. There's a different set of action going on at just about every night of the week here on the ESPN family of broadcasts. Don't forget to like, favorite, subscribe, share, tattoo it on your forehead, call your mom, call your dad, call the non-emergency police line, let them know that you love what you're seeing. Have them tune in and you know, hey, we're here. You know, we back the blue here at ESPN as well. As the lights finally go out on the pace truck, as we are working lap 115 of 133 here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Glazer going to have the button one more time. Very hungry. Kevin Thrift sitting in the number 3 slot. Bob Beltrami going to need to have the restart of his night from the outside lane. He's got to be careful, though, because he's got a very hungry Ryan Steele behind him. Jeff Hollingsworth, great recovery drive, sitting back in the top 5 right now after going 2 laps down at one point. David Woods, great recovery drive back into the top 10. Kyle McCartney back in the top 10. Butch Davis back in the top 10. As the field works its way through into turn number 3. Here we go. Glazer, again, going to have the button. He's been timing those restarts differently every time to get these guys kind of guessing where and when he's going to go. As Ron Hollyfield finally puts it on the hauler as well. So we are down a couple trucks from where we started. Pace truck is in. Glazer finally pulls the trigger. We are back underway, and Thrift not getting the restart he needed.
Not a bad start at all there for the 14 of Beltrami, as he's got the 12, but Thrift able to gather it back up into turn 1 to the bottom side, as he's going to have the 97 of Hollingsworth following behind. He slides up in front of the 14. Kyle McCartney in the 18, forcing the issue back there. They go 3 wide for just a moment, as we see quite a bit of action off of this restart. Kevin Thrift able to hold on to the 2nd spot. Beltrami 3rd. The 97 of Hollingsworth 4th. The 12 of Ryan Steele able to hold on for now, but he's got the 4 of Brian Barnes knocking on his door.
Barnes looking to try to figure out how to get by Steele right now, as Beltrami throws it to the inside of Thrift going into 3. If you're Bentley Glazer, you're seeing this behind you going, yeah, go ahead, guys, just run side by side. I'm going to walk away. As right now, Thrift and Beltrami. Beltrami on the inside, Thrift on the high side. Beltrami very hungry right now in that Toyota Tundra, looking to get his first podium of the season. Still a drag race, side by side they go. And don't look now, but Kyle McCartney is stalking these guys right now.
Absolutely. He's got a head of steam, as he's got 2 trucks wide in front of him, the 4 of Brian Barnes and the 12 of Ryan Steele, as the 33 now going to have a look from the 97 to his inside, trying to take a look to the tailgate of the 14 of Beltrami. What a race here on lap 119.
And the 33 going to lose out as Hollingsworth wrestles the final step of the podium away from Thrift. Wow! McCartney down on the apron, got run down there. Barnes tried to cut him off. And McCartney having to step out of it. That's going to kill all of his momentum right now, as here comes David Woods in the 27. And right now, these guys are stem to stern as we are quickly approaching 13 to go this next time across the stripe. Bentley Glazer with a commanding lead right now. Beltrami having to deal with Hollingsworth. Hollingsworth giving him all he can handle going into 3.
Hollingsworth taking a look to the inside of the 14 of Beltrami. The 33 of Thrift going to follow right along. The momentum of the 18 of Kyle McCartney temporarily on hold behind the 4 of Brian Barnes, as these guys are nose to tail yet again. The 97 of Hollingsworth not able to get to the door of the 14 quite just yet, as the momentum starting to work for him, as we see some laps come to these tires.
Absolutely, and this is the part of the long green flag run that we see McCartney's truck always start to come around. Almost into the wall off of 4, though. That's going to kill any momentum he had, as right now Brian Barnes looking to try to figure out how to get by the 12 of Steele, as the 33 looking to try to work on Hollingsworth. And here comes Butch Davis to the inside of the 22 of Schmeier. That's the battle for 9th.
Everybody knows the tale. You see the 27 of Wood there working to the inside, the 22 of Schmeier to his outside. And as you mentioned, the 43 of Butch Davis, who has had a ton of speed in that truck all night long, looking to take advantage of this battle.
Absolutely, as Schmeier was able to get to the outside of the 27 to kind of kill the run that Davis had. Davis knows better than to go 3 wide. It's not the last lap yet, and that's not when you want to do it, as Hollingsworth still continues to fill the rearview mirrors of Beltrami, pulls alongside going into 3. Beltrami battles back on the high side, though.
Hollingsworth, not quite as much momentum off the bottom, but still able to stick to the door of the 14 of Beltrami heading down into turn 1. The 97 going to elect to stick to that bottom side, see if he can clear the 14 here. It looks like he has at this point, and he has. He slides up in front of the 14 of Beltrami, and now the 33 of Thrift looking to make something happen on the bottom.
It'll be 9 laps to go, this time across the stripe. Your leader, Bentley Glazer, has his teammate in tow, as right now the battle is for the final step of the podium. That's Beltrami in the 14, Kevin Thrift in the 33, and Ryan Steele in the 12. Don't count out Brian Barnes in the 4 or Kyle McCartney in the 18, as those guys just, no quarter asked for, no quarter given. It's that late in the race.
Absolutely not, as the 12 of Ryan Steele making the high side momentum work for him, as he's able to pull the nose of that truck just in front of the 33 of Thrift, and Brian Barnes also going to look to do that. The 18 of Kyle McCartney still at a halt back there behind Brian Barnes, as we see Hollingsworth able to get about 2 truck lengths between himself and Beltrami, but a good lead for Bentley Glazer, about 1.5 seconds over his teammate in Hollingsworth.
Absolutely, as we are going to be 6 to go this time across the stripe. Sorry, 7 to go this time across the stripe, as the battle still rages on for that number 5 slot. Barnes on the high side, Thrift on the inside, and it's got to be frustrating if you're Kyle McCartney coming in tonight tied for the points with Bentley Glazer. Now, McCartney did lead 1 lap tonight. However, Glazer took pole and has led the most laps tonight. As right now, these guys are starting to get it sorted out, and here comes McCartney to the inside of Thrift. Does he have enough time to try to make any more headway to at least get on the podium? We are about to find out, as there is a huge gap from Hollingsworth to Bob Beltrami. The final step of the podium, as Beltrami has his rearview mirrors filled with a 12 of Ryan Steele.
And McCartney's still trying to get around the 33 of Thrift, as Brian Barnes gets a touch loose coming off of that bump off of 4. Not able to open the door for those two, as it's going to give the advantage back to Thrift, but McCartney sticking true to the bottom, still trying to take that spot away.
Now, we know McCartney is great on saving tires. This is the part of the race where he has just dominated the previous 2 events. Not quite far enough ahead. Those couple of times that his momentum got killed because of heavy traffic in front of him with those guys battling. Don't look now, but here comes Timmy Bates back into the top 10 after having a backslide. Finally got that final set of tires on that truck and able to start making some headway, as Bates currently sitting in the number 8 slot, reeling in the 18 of McCartney, as the battle still rages on for that final step of the podium, as we are going to be 3 to go this time across the stripe. Glazer with a 4 truck length lead over his teammate Jeff Hollingsworth, and then you're over a second back to this battle for 3rd between Beltrami, Steele, Barnes, and Thrift.
A 2.1 second lead over Hollingsworth. And now Ryan Steele's starting to take a look to the outside of the 14 of Beltrami. Not able to get him clear. Brian Barnes, Kevin Thrift, and the 18 of McCartney all stacked up back there, rounding out the top 5 as pretty much single file and no advantage for Hollingsworth trying to get towards his teammate.
Popsicle sticks in the air. Bentley Glazer has 3 miles to make it happen. As Glazer, Hollingsworth, Beltrami, your current podium. Beltrami, though, under heavy pressure from Steele. Steele looking to do it the hard way, going the long way around Beltrami. We've seen that high line pay dividends all night long. As Steele with a nose out front coming off of 4, Beltrami looks like he big wiggle for Beltrami coming off of 4 as he caught that bump. Tries to battle back, full send it mode for the 14 going into 1. Not going to happen. His white flag in the air. Glazer has the point. Hollingsworth just has to keep it clean as Steele finally wrestles it away from Beltrami. And here comes Barnes to try to get 4th away from him. Beltrami cuts him off, though. Coming out of turn number 4, Glazer gonna come home with his first victory of the season and wrestles the points lead firmly away. Hollingsworth hanging on for 2nd, Steele for 3rd. Bob Beltrami, top 5 finish, coming home in 4th. Brian Barnes in 5th. Kevin Thrift in 6th. Kyle McCartney, not the night he was hoping for, coming home in 7th. Paul Crumry, good recovery drive for him, coming home in 8th. Timmy Bates in 9th. And Jeff Schmeier rounding out your top 10. What a finish, Ben.
Absolutely. And just in the nick of time for Ryan Steele, able to make his way to that 2nd spot just before we got out of time. I'm not sure if you noticed that we were coming down on about 5 seconds left in the session. Almost saw a back-to-back surprise finish like we saw last week in Texas in an absolute thriller.
Yeah, absolutely. And while we're waiting for the drivers to come into the session, we're going to recap what we got coming up the rest of this week on the ESPN family of broadcasts. Tomorrow night, it's going to be Frank Marchese and myself in the booth for the Sim Racers Edge Alpha Series IndyCars from Kansas. That's scheduled to go off at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. 10 minutes later, you're going to join Sam Cooper Bennett in the booth for the Endurance for Amateurs next round at Sebring. That's going to go at 8:25 p.m. Eastern Time. Then Thursday night, it's going to be Frank and myself back in the booth for the next round of the TNT TickleZombie.com Truck Series. They are going to be at Michigan. And then the next race is going to be on the 26th that would be the following Monday. So we're going to have Saturday off. We're going to have Sunday off for the next round of the Rowdy Energy Cup Series as they return for the second murdering of Pocono. So, I hate that track. I love that series. I just hate that track. I'm sorry. No offense to the people of the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. I'm just not a fan of the Tricky Triangle.
I'm offended.
The last time those guys were there, they put on an amazing show. They almost put on enough of an amazing show to make me almost love that track. But it's the Rowdy Energy Cup Series that made me do it. The action that you saw here tonight, just awesome action all night long. You're going to see that the rest of the week here on the ESPN family of networks. As joining us now after the celebratory burnouts, finally getting the monkey off his back this season. Congratulations on the victory here tonight. Bentley Glazer, dominating performance here at Charlotte.
Yeah, it was a good race. Just happy to get one this season finally.
Well, Bentley, we talk about you had that monkey on your back. You came in tied with Kyle McCartney for the points lead. Quick time in hot laps, quick time in qualifying, led the most laps again, and finally got the curse of the most laps led off your back. Talk us through just how difficult it was to manage the tires here tonight.
It was a big deal. Like, it was a very tight setup, and we were all getting real tight, but saving the tires was important, except for our runs were so short that you had to guess if you wanted to, tear your tires up and try to get away, or think you're going to have a long run. So, yeah, it made it interesting. And plus, being up front, like everyone behind me, like with the tight setup, the dirty air was just very powerful. So, just happy to be up front.
Well, great. It's a great night for OGR as you and your teammate both put them on the podium. But we change gears, and next week we go to the Monster Mile at Dover. Your thoughts going to the track that's been referred to as Bristol on steroids?
Should be fun. I like Dover a lot, and I know Jeff Hollingsworth's really good at Dover, so it'll be a fun race. He had penalties in the pits, and then he recovered nicely. And if he was out there the whole time, he'd probably be the one in winner's lane.
Well, Bentley, again, congratulations on the victory here tonight at Charlotte. Season 45, finally getting the monkey off your back. Is there anybody you want to thank before we let you go celebrate with the rest of your team?
Thanks to all my teammates at OGR, and thanks to you guys in the booth, and thanks to Bob Beltrami for putting on the league.
All right, Bentley Glazer, again, congratulations on your first victory of the season, and best of luck to you next week at the Monster Mile.
Thank you very much.
So that was our winner, Bentley Glazer. And Ben, I believe you have his teammate, second place, Jeff Hollingsworth, with you now.
Jeff, another really great run for you here tonight, able to make your way back on the podium yet again in a rather hectic night for you. It seemed. Take us through what it looked like for you.
Wow, what a night. It was crazy. First off, I just want to shout out to Bentley, man. He dominated, and it's always me chasing that Bentley guy and the rest of us too. Shout out to him and Ryan for that third place, and also to Bob. He was up there fighting with us at the end, and he had a really good race. As far as me, I stepped on myself a couple of times when I was running behind Bentley at the beginning. I ran it too hard and smoked the right front, and then had a little deal where it just wouldn't turn off of turn 2, and I smacked the wall, and then poor Kyle McCartney was right behind me, had nowhere to go, and just hit me, and it snowballed from there. Went in the pits, got black flags, had to recover, get lucky dogs, race from the back twice, and sure enough, I did pretty good at the end there. I was pretty frustrated at the beginning, but all in all, a really good night, a lot of fun, a lot of passing, a lot of racing when we were racing. So
Now, I got to ask you, I mean, it seemed like it was one of those nights where, passing was rather tough, and you just seamlessly, make your way from the front into the back, from the back back to the front. What was the key to being so fast all night for you?
going slower, honestly, just letting off in the corners. It's kind of scary because you don't know if the guy behind you is going to see where you're lifting, but it's the speed off of the corners, especially off of turn 2. You get that left front around that line on the bottom and just get it there and just work it all the way around. And when I slowed down in the turns, I was making faster laps and I wasn't blistering my tires, and so my tires were good. Honestly, that's it.
In an impressive fashion, you definitely did that with another great run here tonight. Looks like it's going to be able to put you back in that third spot in the point standing heading over to Dover. Are you excited looking forward to that and tightening up this points run between yourself, Kyle, and Bentley?
Yeah, Bentley's, I've heard you guys talk, and I respect it, but me and Bentley have been racing together for years. He took a break, and he's always been a wheelman. So I learned from him and me and Charlie and Ron and Paul and Tim, and I mean, we got a bunch of guys, racing with us, and we all kind of draw off of each other, and offsets and wheels and whatnot, how everything is set up. And even on with a fixed setup, there's little tweaks you can do to make it run better. But yeah, I think this season, hopefully I'm not gonna step on myself, and hopefully my backwoods internet holds up and doesn't drop me when I'm leading races and stuff like it did last year. So yeah, it's gonna be a good season.
Yeah, certainly another great run for the whole team again here tonight. Who do you got to thank for keeping you guys up front so often?
Well, like I already said, my teammates, there's a bunch of us, the old guys, man, and we all run together. We have fun, and we do it just because we love racing. We like to race clean. We like to show that we can race clean and be competitive, and that's key to our being in our little group. And Bentley's the youngest guy at 32, and then Charlie. Well, heck, now we got Fred. Fred's 75, so we got those guys. Yeah, big time to Bob. I always give him props. This league's not easy to run. It's a lot of stuff, and he's been doing it for years, and I really appreciate him. And you guys for broadcasting. I love watching the broadcast and with my family and friends and stuff. And U.S. Coast Guard, my family, and God above. Thank you.
Congratulations to you again, Jeff, on another great run here from Charlotte. We look forward to seeing you next week at Dover.
Thank you, sir. Good to see you guys. Hey, Tony. Take care, y'all.
Thanks, Jeff. And that was our second place finisher, Jeff Hollingsworth. And he did mention that it was a good night for OGR. 1, 2, 8, and 9 for that team tonight. So decent run. Another guy that had a really decent run, especially in the closing laps. We're going to start calling him the closer. That, of course, is the driver of the number 12, Ryan Steele. Ryan, congratulations on the podium. Hard-fought third-place finish tonight.
Yeah, it was a kind of rough one for me because I had a pretty bad qualifying effort, and I had to play the track position game the whole race because I didn't find passing really easy. I seemed to be better than people off the turns, but the only thing I could do with that was attack the bottom, and I didn't like running the bottom, so I was in a real bind. I couldn't pass people. So I kept trying to get in a position where I had fresher tires, or the fuel situation might work out better, just something that would change where I was in the running order until I got up in the top 5. And from the last few runs, I was on the same tire as everybody else, and managed to get a decent finish out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. You were able to keep those tires underneath you all night long. Somebody that's new to the iRacing servers or has never been in the iRacing servers, iRacing threw you guys a curveball at the start of this season when they rolled out the new tire and aero model and damage model on this truck. How much of an adjustment was that from seasons past?
I'm not super familiar with running this car because I only started running this at the end of last year in this series, and so I wouldn't consider I have a whole heck of a lot of track time in this car yet. I can't say I'm noticing a huge difference. I do think there's something different, but I haven't been able to figure out what it is yet, and that's probably why we're not winning any races. So I don't know.
Well, Ryan, again, congratulations on the podium here tonight. We completely go to something different next week as we go to the Monster Mile at Dover. Your thoughts going to the Concrete Palace there?
Dover is one of my best racetracks, and even though I hate the place, it's one of my best racetracks. So I will be upset if I don't get a good finish.
Usually
but
the case.
Yeah. I mean, a real good finish, like top 3, like this. If I'm not if I don't have a chance of winning the race, I'm not going to be very happy. But of course, that track it likes to kill people, and so I mean, you can have a good run taken away from you really easily. So I don't know.
Well, it's usually the case that we've seen it time and time again already, just in the last couple of weeks, that guys hate a track, but they have a great performance at it. But Ryan, before we let you go celebrate the podium tonight, getting your first podium of the season, is there anybody you want to thank?
I got to thank Bob for running the series and more or less gifting me this third place finish, because he could have shut the door on me pretty easily and I wouldn't have had anything to do with him. But Bob and the rest of the guys in Dog Bear, it's always great running with them. Got to thank them. And thank you guys for covering the series.
All right. Well, Ryan Steele, again, congratulations on your first podium of the season. Best of luck to you next week at the Monster Mile.
Thank you much. See you then.
Ben, what a race we just saw. Action-packed throughout the entire field all night long.
Absolutely. And, if you're at home watching and, me and Tony, or if it's me and Ryan or whoever, we're always talking about tires. The proof's in the pudding. We talked to these guys here tonight, and pretty much the same message pretty much echoed out between everybody, looking for that pit strategy advantage, making the fuel last, saving those tires just enough to make something happen, or saving a set of tires to make something happen. So, I know that sometimes I can sound like a broken record, but it's really that important with these guys and the caliber of this field, to have the slightest advantages, as we heard Hollingsworth talk about, in a fixed set, that there's certain things, whether he didn't address exactly what they were, but whether it be brake bias or I'm not exactly sure how stringent your adjustment is in the fixed setup, but
Brake
looking for
bias and
every
steering
advantage.
wheel offset. That's it.
Yeah, so I mean, it just speaks volumes. And all of last year, all that I talked about is how intense these point battles were. And right off the get-go, from the beginning of the season, that's exactly what we're seeing from these guys yet again.
Absolutely. And as we'll take a quick rundown of our finishing order, as Bentley Glazer getting his first win of season 45. Jeff Hollingsworth hanging on for second. Ryan Steele third. Bob Beltrami, great run all night long, up front all night long in the Beltrami Salami number 14, coming home in the number 4 slot. Great run for him. Brian Barnes, biggest mover of the event, started 29th, coming home in the number 5 slot. Kevin Thrift, great recovery drive for him as he gambled on 2 under the third caution there, and it didn't quite work out for him. Great recovery drive to come home in 6th. Kyle McCartney, not the night he was hoping for. Top 10, but wanted more. Coming home in 7th. 8th going to Paul Crumrye. Great recovery drive for him. Great recovery drive for Tim Bates, coming home in 9th. Jeff Schmeier rounding out your top 10.
Butch Davis in the 43 brought it home, 11th, and a solid run for him. The 3 of Paul Hoffman, 12th after starting 7th. Ryan Patty in the 30 truck, able to salvage a very good night for what it could have looked like at one point. 2 laps down, finishes 13. Wayne Hutchison, 14th. Rob Gall, 15th, in a night that he's going to want to look past moving towards Dover. Dennis Fuson, 16th. Barry Phil, 17th. Earl Weaver, 18th. David Wood, 19th. Cody Hunter, 20th. Angelo Epso, 21st. Brian Border, 22nd. And then starting the field, laps down, Charles Woods, 1 lap down in 23rd. Mark Rediker, 24th. Dustin Burns, 25th. Keith Kellman, 26th. Rob Courtney, 27th. David Weaver, 28th. And then some early retires, 24 laps down. Carl Burke, Jeffrey Schloss, Ron Holyfield, Earl McCulligan, Ross Rawlings, and Scott Kukas, all retiring early.
And I do owe an apology to Scott, as I have been mispronouncing his last name, and I will work on that in the future, sir. I do apologize. Fred Williams, David Gargaro Jr., Nathan Medina, and Jerry Sterner, all electing to not take the green tonight. That is going to do it for us from Charlotte. Don't forget to join us tomorrow night for the Sim Racers Edge Alpha Series as they go round number 2 from Kansas. For Mr. Ben Bruno in the announce booth, for Mr. Frank Marchese in the production truck, this is Tony Trapassa reminding you folks, as you walk down the road of life, please don't play in traffic.